Hi. This video is about boxing, which is a bit unusual for me. Um, Normally it's a bit political, but this is a sport that I love very much. It's by far my favourite sport. But there have been there's been a death recently in Britain, and there's been several permanent brain injuries to boxers over the last couple of years. And I just wanted to get my thoughts out on it, what possible solution that might help. Yeah, Scott Westergaard, who's 31-year-old light heavyweight, died shortly after a an eliminator for an area title or English title bout, and he was seen looking a bit hurt or distressed after the fight. In interviews, he won the fight, and then just hours later, he's in hospital and he died. It's tragic. Um, there's been some near misses recently. George Groves a couple of years ago fought a guy called Edward Gutnick, who after the fight was in trouble, brain injury, and he still isn't very well. I think I'm not sure what his state of health is at the moment, but I believe he's having to go through sort of learning to talk and learning to walk, and he's really badly permanently injured. Um, Callum Smith also in this World Boxing Series competition in his quarter-final. He's now going to meet George Groves in the final. His opponent Eric Skoglund was injured badly and has had to retire from boxing. I'm not sure whether he is living a decent sort of level of health now or not. Chris Eubank Jr. Lost in the semi-finals. George Groves, well done, George. He's a big fan. He as well fought a couple of years ago. Fought a guy called Nick Blackwell, who, if you've seen the fight, the bruise above his eye, the hematoma, I think they called it, was awful, and it went on for a few rounds, concussively non-stop getting hit. He's retired. He has to. He went into coma. He's made a recovery, so he's living a healthy lifestyle, but he's had to retire. Um, Chris Eubank Senior was making a lot of noise about this sort of stuff before his fight with George Groves, but that was ulterior motive for it, because he knows that Eubank Jr. was probably outmatched skill wise, and he has a tendency to fight in a very aggressive sort of ambushing style, where he can throw a lot of punches in a short space of time. And if a referee thinks, a talented fighter such as George Groves, he can cope with that. He can type, but it may look like he's in trouble. But so Senior was really, I think, just trying to get in the referee's head so he might stop the fight early, giving his son the win. I don't think he's really that bothered. I think he's very disingenuous. He himself was in a fight in the early 90s, I think, with Michael Watson. Michael Watson was permanently injured. I think he can walk and talk, but it's not right. He's not well. Um, so this stuff goes on. One possible method to perhaps reduce the impact, weirdly enough, is to wear either no gloves or much smaller gloves, almost like the MMA style ones, where they got their fingers free, because obviously they grapple as well. Um, but the thinking behind that is that if your hands are less protected, you're less likely to throw such hard shots at a head, because the head is sort of a heavy piece of hard bone. And if you haven't got the padded gloves on, you break your knuckles. Boxers of old, the old Queensberry rules before they brought in the gloves, they used to target the body and the chest a lot more than they did the head. For that exact reason, you keep hitting someone in the head with a bare fist, you're going to break your hand. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, you would probably end up with a lot of blood injuries, because that's what you get in MMA. I think they had one or two deaths in MMA. It's because the once an opponent goes down, the you jump on top and you carry on hitting them until the referee drags you off. And you've seen too many times, an unconscious person being continually hit in the head 5 or 6 times until the referee is able to drag them off. So I don't like it, personally, for that reason. Um, my thinking is there's a solution here, and I have been trying to share this on some boxing forums and stuff like that, or just YouTube channels, and put some comments. I'm not sure if it's picking up any momentum, or if anyone's ever. It might have already been discussed years ago. I don't know. it's the weight loss, I think, has a massive part to play. Boxers will boil themselves down through dehydrating a few days before the weigh-in for a fight. So say for pick a weight, middleweights, they fight 160 pounds, which is what, 11 stone 6. Those guys are naturally bigger than 11 stone 6. They're probably walking around 12 and a half, even maybe 13 stones. And what they do is they obviously they do diet while they're training, which is fine, but they will dehydrate themselves to make that weight limit, which the weigh-in would be on a Friday, say Friday lunchtime, and then the fight would be Saturday evening. The risk it does to the body. There was a very interesting documentary recently I saw. It's not just dehydrating. You're injuring your liver, your organs, but the other thing that happens when you dehydrate is your brain shrinks. And whether there's enough time between, say, lunchtime on a Friday till Saturday night for your brain to have completely rehydrated, because then it's smaller inside the skull and it will rattle around. I think this is a big part of the brain injuries, and it's a loss to how the stock boxers doing this, because they're trying to gain an advantage, but everyone's doing it. So if you're not doing it, the guy that you fight in the ring the next night is a lot bigger than you. So I was thinking that a weigh-in every single day, 5 days prior to the fight. So you weigh in Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday, and you have to make the weight every single time. You're not going to be able to dehydrate yourself for 5 days. You're going to be forced to fight at your correct weight, and your opponents will be the same. So there'll be less risk to the fighters. They'll just be fighting in a different weight category, or perhaps they can reclassify, move say 7 or 8 pounds up each category. So middleweight now fights at the cut-off point is heavier, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The point is you'll have fighters fighting each other that haven't been able to dehydrate massively and put in their bodies under severe stress. If any boxing fans out there watch this and you've got any comments on it, or you can advise me or whatever, please do so. And if you like this video, share it and subscribe. Thank you very much.